What's up, y'all? Welcome in to the 1-0 podcast, episode number 3 that we're at now. We're going to talk about the San Antonio Spurs, and then at the end, we'll talk a little bit of the bowl games that were in action today. I didn't get to see both of them, but I did see the score of specifically that Georgia Southern Louisiana Tech game, and I just want to go on a little tangent about it because, I love my Fun Belt. But getting into the San Antonio Spurs, right off the bat, this is the first time we've really talked about basketball on the show. I'm a huge Spurs fan, and I'm repping my DeJounte Murray jersey. I'm trying to get, y'all see the 5, right? Because that man might have been the best player on the court tonight. I know if you guys were watching it, you could probably see where I was coming from. Obviously, if you just look at the stat line, it feels like DeRozan was probably the best player because he got 28, 9, and 9, right? That's almost a triple-double, but just talent-wise. And at one point, it was just almost like Pop told him to take over the game. It was during a free throw for Memphis, right? And Pop brings him over and he does this little talk that he does with a lot of guys. We saw it with Tony, we saw it with Timmy, we've seen it with every Spur for forever, right? During Pop's tenure. And it was just like after that, DeJounte just like took it to another level and really was kind of taking over the game in a point when I believe DeMar and them were off the floor. And if they weren't, then just even more power to him. Speaking of that, and I'm just kind of running off thoughts here, rambling, but there was at one point in the fourth quarter where they had the lineup of Jakob Poeltl, Rudy Gay, Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, and DeJounte Murray, and we only got like 3 minutes of it, and then, LaMarcus and DeMar came in, and, they both had 20-point games. Really, DeMar is the one I'll give more credit to, even though he had some issues, which we'll get into in a little bit, but I was like, that's the best lineup I've seen. And it was matching up. You had a perfect stretch 4 in Rudy. You got Jakob, who could match up with your big guys and hold down the paint. And then you got Keldon, Lonnie, and DeJounte, who are arguably the 3 most talented guards on the roster. I know DeMar's DeMar, but like ceiling-wise, I'm just saying, like, Lonnie was pulling up in people's faces from 3. He was dunking on people. Keldon was Mr. Reliable in this game. That's the best way I can describe it. They both had 16. They didn't do too much. They didn't have too many turnovers. And they just played within themselves. They played within the scheme. They played within the team. They did what they needed to do, and that's why you got to win, even though they were kind of choking there in the fourth. And notice that choke started when DeMar and LaMarcus came in. No offense to them. And it was more LaMarcus who was just inconsistent throughout the entire game. I know that, like, you needed that 20 points from him to win the game tonight, like, ultimately, right? But, like, there would be times where he'd get in rhythm and he would start making jumpers. It was like there was never like, okay, he'll miss one here and then make one there. It's like he's just so hot and cold. That was the best way I could describe it. That's kind of what it's been like in San Antonio. Now he's older and it's just like, oh. And he only made 1 3, finally made it in the fourth quarter when they needed it, like when we needed it, right? The Spurs. But at the same time, it was just like, God, you made one of those, 1 for 5, I think. I have the stat line pulled up here. Yeah, okay, 1 for 4. I was given a little bit him less credit than he deserved, but only 3 rebounds. Are you kidding me? 3 rebounds, 9 for 17, an assist, and then he had 20 points and then a block. I'll give him that. But like, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of like, I don't get it, man. I know I'm just sitting here, and if you're listening on the audio version right now, you're like, okay, Jude, what are you talking about? But this is how I feel. I feel so just, I don't even know what to say. I'm like, this isn't good. This isn't necessarily bad, but it's not what I want. I don't want 35-year-old LaMarcus Aldridge. I'd rather have, Derek White's hurt right now. But if you play him, I mean, he's gonna give you more production than LaMarcus, and then you still have the same result in the game. So I'd just like rather sit him and play Derek. I mean, that's so sad, but it's like he's just, like I said, he would go like 3 or 4 shots and miss, then he'd make a couple, and then he'd miss like 3 or 4 again. And it was just like, what is even the point of having you? And then you're supposed to be the stretch 4 guy and you shoot 25%. So, and that's 1 for 4. So, I mean, look, it's game 1, but this is the same thing we've really got from LaMarcus the whole time, except for when, it was a little bit of a different NBA and, Kawhi Leonard was on the team. That says it all. DeMar, 14 for 15 from the free throw line. That is my favorite number about him. And while there are still some times, and one of the things that I wrote down specifically, him and Patty did this even though Patty had a great game and looks pretty good. Even defensively, he looks better, which is crazy because he's a year older. But DeMar, there would just be times where he would just get lasered in on a possession. He's DeMar DeRozan. He's an ISO player. But it's just like, the problem with that is there would be times whenever he would get lasered in on a possession, he was going to take the shot, and there would be like two guys wide open from the three-point line. And I remember specifically in my head, one of the times it was Rudy Gay, and the other time it was Keldon Johnson, who are both pretty good free throw shooters. Or they're good free throw shooters too, but three-point shooters. So it's like, come on, man. Like, I love you to death, and I'm glad you got 28, and a lot of that was off of garbage time free throws, and I appreciate the 9 and 9, I really do, and the steal and the block that he added as well. Like, he is a good part of this team. He can pass, he can play the small ball. I like him at the small ball 4. I rock with, like, I really, like, I'm not as mad, like, I don't want to, I want to trade DeMar, but, like, I wouldn't be, like, if he stays, I'd be happy. You know what I'm saying? Where LaMarcus, I'm like, no, just leave. And it's so bad, like, because he's going to have a good game this year, and I'm going to be like, all right, this is why we have him. But it's just, when we watch these games, guys, LaMarcus just doesn't do it for me. He really doesn't. DeMar I can live with, but still, it's like sometimes just, you can take 2 of those buckets away, or even just a missed possession, throw those 2 passes out, and then you got 11 assists. And 2 more threes for Keldon and Rudy. And then if they don't make it, it doesn't happen. But, I mean, even in the fourth quarter, there's another possession that sticks in my mind. Lonnie Walker drives inside, penetrates, throws it out to Keldon Johnson, wide open corner 3. And I remember the shots in midair, and I'm saying to myself, watching the game, I'm like, even if he doesn't make this, I love this possession. And he didn't make it, but I'm like, I take that possession 10 out of 10 times, bro. Then DeMar DeRozan eating up the shot clock for however long, or LaMarcus eating up the shot clock and getting a contested 2. Like, I would much rather have the penetration in the wide open 3. Another example, my favorite possession of this game, it's on the Spurs Twitter account. DeJounte penetrates, right? We'll talk about DeJounte here in a little bit. But penetrates, gets pressure, swings it out to Lonnie, who's got some space, could have pulled it, but you know what he does? He immediately swings it to Keldon, wide open, corner 3, bucket. This is what I'm talking about. That is why that was my favorite lineup on the game, guys. Because when those 3 are out there, they're so fast, they're so young, and they're so athletic. And then you've got a guy like Rudy who can space the floor and post up and get those rebounds. And then also you got Jakob, who's like the tallest guy on the court. So that is why I love that lineup. All right, let's talk about some other people. Rudy cooled off as time went on, but he did what he needed to do. Jakob, he's Jakob, he's kind of got a ceiling, but I mean, as a bench center, coming off the bench, that was a pretty good deal, So he got blocked a couple times, missed some easy ones, but other than that, you look at the stat sheet, 7 boards, that's what you want, and he's in 20 minutes a game. And an assist, a steal, and a block. Like, add that in. He's Jakob. That's what he's gonna do. May not score a bunch, maybe not be the best player, best center on the court, but, like, he's a above average bench center. Patty played great. There were some times that he also would he's Australia Patty this season, right? And so there'd be times where he would just kind of, once again, get zoned in on a possession, and there would be wide open guys like Rudy and Keldon. I think I remember that with him too. And it's just like, come on, guys. Patty, I love you, but you got wide open 3-pointers. Like, we need that to, we need him to dish that out. So that's the other thing on that one. Devin Vassell, he's 1 for 4, guys. I didn't even see that. I only saw the one shot, which was the 3, and he drained it. So I don't know. There were also times though where, because I'm having to stream, because YouTube TV and Hulu, they cut the cords, baby. They're like, no Fox Sports Southwest for you or anyone, which is giving a lot of people problems. So I'm sure you guys are dealing with that. So the NBA Reddit stream sites are just popping, right? So shout out to them. But he pulled up, got that 3-pointer near the end of the game. That was awesome. It was in his face. And the fact that Devin Vassell is getting minutes, guys. Pop does not do that for rookies. Like, he's got to have a lot of confidence in him. He's 6'7". Maybe one day he can play that small ball 4, even though he's listed as a guard. But shout out to Devin Vassell. It's going to be interesting to see what he looks like in the future. Let's see. What are some other things that I have written down that I didn't remember? So I said, I want to read you guys this because I think you'll think it's funny. DeJounte cooking, Keldon cooking, Miss Derek, Miss Drew. So there's one point where I tweeted, you guys can follow me at Jude McClaren on Twitter for some just college football. Now I'll be talking some Spurs, right? And so I'm watching the game, and it was when LaMarcus was going through one of his stretches where he just wasn't giving effort on defense, and he had like 3 straight mid-range jumpers that were bricks that were wide open, and it's like, what are you doing, bro? And I'm just like, I'd rather have Drew Eubanks out there right now. I really would. That's just how I felt. And then they called a timeout. I'm pretty sure Pop lit into him, right? And then he ends up, heating up a little bit, right? And that's when even the Spurs account tweeted, LA is heating up. It's like, yeah, but that was after 3 possessions where he couldn't, he was missing wide open jumpers in what is supposed to be like his most talented area. But he's 35. Look, I'm crapping on LaMarcus a lot right now, and I want to say thank you for all that you've done. If you ever see this, LaMarcus, I know I'm being critical right now. I'm just a fan. You'll be better at basketball than I ever will, but I'm just giving my opinion, and I love this team. Missing Derek White, man. If Derek White was out there, once again, would have been a different game, and that's where, when I look at this, a key takeaway, Spurs fans, is we got to remember that Jaren Jackson Jr. wasn't playing in this game. So this is like one to feel good about. You got to feel good about the dub. You got to feel good about, scoring 130 points and all the young guys contributing, and as well as kind of LaMarcus and DeMar, right? And DeJounte really taking over, right? That's huge. DeJounte, I'm getting off track here, but I have to go on my DeJounte tangent. 9 assists. We love it. 2 steals, 6 boards, 9 of 15 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, and one of those was almost a buzzer beater, so really just 1 for 2, and that buzzer beater almost went, and I wanted that to go so bad, guys. I'm sure if you were a Spurs fan, you guys did too, right? And then 2 for 2 from the free throw line, maybe you'd like to see him get in, and 21. He's in his first year of his contract, y'all. This is perfect. This is what we want. This is the progression we want to see. And with Derek out, we need him to really step up. I mean, and the way that he was playing tonight, there was a point where they played him at the 2 when Patty was in. And I'm like, when DeJounte can kind of be that 2 guard when he's getting his offensive game down, because we know how he is on defense, even though John Morant was cooking. I will not, there were possessions where DeJounte did a fantastic job on defense, but I mean, how many points did John Morant have? 44? Yeah. And speaking of one more thing, I'll harp on DeMar. John Morant, guys, lobs it to himself in front of DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is just like standing just to the right of the restricted area. And he could go up, try to block this, or, he could have tried to contest in the first place. And then Ja just dunks it. And he's just like, he dunks on him, kind of, but not really, because he's just standing there and he didn't get him any effort, and he just looks at DeJounte. And I'm like, bro, DeJounte's covering this other guy. What are you talking about? That's your man. You just let him throw a lob to himself in front of your face, and you didn't give any effort. And then it's like, that also cut the game to 10 in the fourth when you're up by almost 20. So, frustration. That is what that makes me feel, y'all. That is what that makes me feel. Okay, but the main key to this game, right? I'm looking now also just overall because I'm on the stat sheet box score on ESPN. 36-20, the Spurs won in the second quarter. And that really is what won the game, because third quarter, 33-35, fourth quarter, 32-31, and the first quarter, 33-30. So that second quarter won the Spurs that game. So they got to come out better. The defense is the big thing here. That'll be better when Derek comes back, but still, the thing that frustrates me is the 2-star guys, right, who are supposed to be your veteran leaders, and offensively, they are, to an extent. DeMar and Lamar, kiss. Not Lamar Odom. These guys are the ones not playing defense. Keldon, Lonnie, and DeJounte are playing great defense. Like, there are some plays, but, like, overall, they're playing good. Like, they're playing really good. And it's just like DeMar and Lamar. There were multiple times in this game where no effort was given by those two, because I guess they've just earned their slack. And I'm like, whatever, bro. But like, I'm glad DeMar's here, because without him and without LaMarcus in this game, the Spurs don't win. We don't win, guys. But I have so many complaints with them, and I'm so ready for whatever DeJounte and Derek and Lonnie and Keldon and Devin are just going to be the guys. And we don't even have to worry about them anymore, and we can say our goodbye and thank them, and then it can just be them. It can just be the guys who give effort and have the higher ceiling and more talent. Let's talk about Lonnie Walker here. 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. He did his best DeJounte impression on that Skywalker dunk. I mean, when ESPN is saying Skywalker, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to be marketable in a couple years. Maybe we'll get some national television games. Because I can't watch Fox Sports Southwest anymore. We can't. If you're a Spurs fan, you're a Pelicans fan, you're any of these fans, you got YouTube TV and Hulu, like a lot of us do, I'm sure. You can't. You're on these Reddit streams, or you're on ESPN. I mean, that's where we're at, guys. But that's a whole nother can of worms. But whenever, I just can't wait. I can't wait. But going back to Lonnie, played within himself. 3 for 4 from 3, 6 of 9. If he could lead the offense, he really could, but he's just playing within himself with the team, and I love it so much. And he really came on there in the second half when we needed it, and it was awesome. Keldon was more strong in the first half, but then again, let Lonnie kind of take that role there. Still played good defense, 5 rebounds, 3 steals for Keldon Johnson. That's probably the most unknown stat in this game. 3 blocks for Rudy Gay. I didn't even see that either, but 3 steals for Keldon Johnson, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 5 for 7 from the free throw line, and 16 points. Once again, 5 for 10 from the field. You love to see it, and I loved when he hyped up Lonnie after that dunk on, it was the and one, and he goes up to, I'm like, this is the energy that we need on this roster. And, I'm going to give a shout out to somebody else, and I was kind of looking at him I was kind of disagreeing with him. So this is on the Strive Network YouTube page. If you're tuning in, you're just a Spurs fan. Once again, thank you for being here. Or if you're on the audio feed, thanks for listening. Check out some of our other shows on the Strive Network, especially The Splash. There's their recent YouTube show or episode that's called Baby Yoda Mania. Go check out that episode. And Ryan Galloway went on a little bit of a tangent, and he was like, what are the Spurs doing? Why aren't they letting these young players flourish? And I don't know. It's a tough spot for the Spurs because you're a small market team and you're with Pop. So he's just, I don't know. It's tough for him to go through a rebuild, I guess. I honestly don't know that much, guys. Do we really know what's going on Pop's head unless we have inside sources? No, we don't. We know he has his values, but that's really it. So there's LaMarcus and DeMar, and then there's all these young guys. But also they need to mentor them, and I think them being there will help them transition. But I also, as I'm watching this game and I'm seeing how those guys are playing, and I'm just saying how I can't wait till these guys are gone, I'm agreeing with them more. When I was watching it the other day, I was like, I don't know, man. We need them to transition, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm kind of agreeing with them more. Anyways, go check out The Splash. They do a lot of NBA stuff. They talk some college football as well. But they're mainly NBA guys, so this is your season to go watch and listen to The Splash on our YouTube or Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Let's see. Do we have anything else here on the notes? I'll just keep reading these. Devin Vassell making some rookie mistakes, but it's telling he's getting PT. Mentioned that earlier. Patty's better. Rudy cooling down. Defense stiffened up, and then it let go there in the fourth quarter. So they got to be on top of that. Lonnie playing well, even if not scoring. I mentioned that he came on in the second half. LA is okay, and so is DeMar. DeMar, I'll give him good. LA is okay. I will stick with that. DeMar and Patty missing wide open guys sometimes. I talked to y'all about that. LA is so inconsistent. Lonnie turn up. DJ looks like the best player on the team, parentheses without Derek. Keldon is all reliable. DeMar just standing there. So I talked about a lot of that with you guys, but those are really the main takeaways. Once again, when I say DJ looks like the best player on the team, he looked like the most talented player on the team, the most complete player on the team. I honestly know he looked like the best player on the team, in my opinion. If you disagree, come at me in the comments. I mean, you don't have to, when I say come at me, you don't have to be like, come at me because we're going to fight. But, talk to me. Tell me what you think. Because stat sheet says DeMar, I think overall, and this is really just the defensive part, DeJounte was. I mean, he was better offensively than LA. He created turnovers and 9 assists. His passing has gotten so much better. That's huge for him as a point guard. He's really coming into that combo guard role, which will be huge if we can play him next to Derek when he comes back from his injury. Also, I just want to say, Derek White is so Derek White. That's the only way that I can describe it, guys, because he's in his little Spurs polo. And, he's got his crazy hair with his hairline, and I'm just like, this dude is. You can tell he's I don't know. He's a nerd, but I like him. I love him. So I'm glad he's on the roster. But anyways, I think that's really it for the Spurs tonight, guys. 131-119 over the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies were playing better than the Spurs last year. This is a good start. A lot of things to work on, but a good start nonetheless. We'll see what they look like this Saturday against the Raptors. Check in here. Go 1-0 listening to your Spurs talk from myself. But that is not all that we will talk about on today's episode. We also got some NCAA football that was going on today as well. Georgia Southern, as well as, I'm trying to find the scores here. Georgia Southern against Louisiana Tech in the New Orleans Bowl. See, I was right about the score, or who would win. But I said, maybe this will be close. This is Louisiana Tech and Louisiana. Nope, Georgia Southern 38-3. And they ran all over them. Shywerts even passed well. And this is a triple option. Sunbelt supremacy, that's all I'm saying. Sunbelt has beat the crap out of Conference USA. They're, the only thing the only competition that Sunbelt really has right now, and I still think you can make an argument that they're better than the Mountain West this year too, but I really feel like that Sunbelt is coming on, and I'm a homer, but the results speak for themselves. 2 blowouts against Conference USA teams. I think they're coming on as that second best Power 5 conference there with the American. Speaking of which, one more thought on UCF BYU. I had that episode that came out yesterday. You can go check out that out there also. How good does Coastal Carolina look? BYU just destroyed UCF. UCF took Cincinnati to the wire. Food for thought. Food for thought. That's all I'm saying, man. Because, I don't know. Games are different. On the most recent Strive chat I did with Joe Cortez, there are different swings in games, and he knows that better than me. He really played longer than I did, and it was in some deep playoff games, so he has that knowledge. But I just will say, hey, food for thought. BYU beat the crap out of UCF. Cincinnati did not. Coastal Carolina beat BYU. Just saying. Once again, food for thought. But I did pick Georgia Southern, even though I thought it would be close. I was wrong about that. 138-3, won by 35. So that's what, 5 touchdowns? Or no, 7 touchdowns? I can't math. I'm sorry. But by a lot. They won by a lot. They won by 35, right? And I think it's 7 touchdowns. Yeah. So how about that? Georgia Southern beating Louisiana Tech by 7 touchdowns and a field goal. So, I can't talk, guys. I'm so sorry. Good for them. Thanks for listening if you're still here with me kind of struggling to do words here on this Wednesday night. Then Memphis beat Florida Atlantic in a closer game than I thought. Not the greatest performance there by Memphis, but 25-10 they got that. So we bounced back after going 0-2 last night. Now we're back to 2-0 in these bowl picks. So that puts us at 3-2 so far on the week. So tomorrow we got Hawaii Houston. So that'll be interesting. And then we got Marshall Buffalo. So those will be some imperative games to see how I do this week. And then Saturday is going to be so fun. I can't wait for Louisiana UTSA and also that Liberty Coastal Carolina game. Those are going to be a ton of fun for sure. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up today's 1-0 podcast. I appreciate you listening. My name's Jude McClaren. If you didn't know, go check me out on Twitter at Jude McClaren to just hear all my opinions, all my talk, all my sports tweets, all my commentary, all that stuff. If you want more, go check out at the Strive Network on YouTube and on Instagram. Or obviously, you're already on the YouTube, so just check it out here. And then also, go check us out on TikTok. We've been making some more videos on there. We're trying to get our reach because it can be a little bit more organic. I'm not a big TikTok person. I don't even watch anything. I just post. We're just trying to get the word out there. So spread the word to your friends. Like, share, rate it, review it, all that good stuff. This has been an episode of 1-0. You've gone 1-0, and I'll catch y'all next time.